Have you ever stopped to think that maybe everything you learned about weight loss be completely wrong? That those diets that promise quick results could in fact be sabotaging your health and preventing you from losing weight permanently? If you've done everything, intermittent fasting, ketogenic diet, low carb, counting calories, and still the weight comes back like an accordion effect that never ends, this video is for you. The truth is that thousands of people are being deceived every day by strategies that seem to work at first, but that ultimately destroy your metabolism, increase your hunger, decrease your energy, and even put the blame on you when the results don't appear. What if I told you that the real reason for your weight loss stopped is it precisely in the diets you follow? That there is a hidden truth behind every eating plan that leaves you feeling weak, guilty, and frustrated for not being able to keep up? So stay with me, because now you're going to discover the 7 truths that no one told you about diets, and how they are preventing you from really losing weight. These truths that no one tells you start with something that seems harmless, but is extremely destructive: radical calorie cutting. When you go on a diet that forces you to eat very little, your body sees this as a threat. It slows down your metabolism, slows down all your internal systems, and starts saving energy as much as possible. And that means burning less fat. You feel tired, bad mood, difficulty concentrating, and an absurd hunger that seems to never end. This is not a lack of discipline. This is your body reacting to an attack. Behind the idea of eat less and move more, there is an ignored truth. Healthy weight loss is not a mathematical question, it is biological. When you force a food restriction without respecting your internal signals, you create a perfect environment for binging. The guilt, the feeling of failure, the feeling that you will never make it, all of this comes from a system that is fighting against you, not with you. And there's more. Most conventional diets don't consider your body's individuality. They put everyone in the same package, as if everyone had the same metabolism, the same hormonal history, the same routine, and the same stress levels. But your body has a story. It responds to fasting in one way, to ketogenics in another, to carbohydrates in a unique way. When you follow a generic strategy, based on rules that were not made for you, the chance of failure is enormous. And this failure is not yours. She's from strategy. It's not fair for you to carry the frustration of trying so hard and feeling paralyzed by something that should free you. Restrictive diets become a prison, not a path to liberation. And this leads many people to give up, thinking that the problem is a lack of willpower, when in fact the problem is at the root of the approach. And if you're here until now, it's because you're looking for real change. And I want to ask you something simple. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video. It's not just to help me, it's for you to help other people who are also being deceived by the same lies. When you do this, you show YouTube that this content is relevant, and together we can bring this truth to more people who are suffering in silence. It's a simple but powerful gesture. You help yourself, and you help a lot of people together. Now, going back. Do you know what is even more cruel about this whole process? It's just that most diets promote the idea that carbohydrates are the villain, fat is the salvation, or the opposite. This creates immense confusion in your head. One day they tell you to cut down on bread, the next to avoid fruit, then they tell you to put butter in your coffee and fast for 16 hours. Every week a new rule appears, a new fad, a new forbidden food. It wears out. And what few people talk about is that this constant food confusion harms not only your body, but also your mental health. The anxiety about doing everything right, the fear of stepping out of line, the guilt when you eat something wrong. You begin to see food as the enemy and not as what it really is: nutrition, energy, pleasure. And perhaps the most shocking thing about all of this is realizing that many of these diets are created to make you fail. That's right. There is an entire market that profits from your failure. Pills, programs, subscription plans, fitness influencers who sell you an unattainable body, all fueled by your constant frustration. When you don't achieve the result, they offer one more try. A new product, a new promise. But what they don't want to tell you is that the real sustainable weight loss. It starts when you understand your body, respect its limits, and learn to nourish, not punish your diet. But it takes work. This requires quality information. It requires you to stop looking for shortcuts and start building a real path. And of course, this isn't as saleable as a miracle formula that promises minus 10 kilos in a week. That's why this truth remains hidden. That's why she bothers so many people. But you don't need to follow this cycle. And at this point, it's important for you to understand the impact that these radical approaches have on your hormones. Extremely restrictive diets unbalance your production of cortisol, insulin, leptin, ghrelin, hormones that control your hunger, satiety, and fat storage. When these hormones go out of whack, your body goes into a state of constant alert. You eat little, but the body interprets this as scarcity. Result? It holds fat as a protective mechanism. And then, even though you eat less, you continue to gain weight. This generates an immense level of frustration because you feel like you are doing everything right, but you don't see results. And the consequence of this is not only physical, but also emotional. Self-esteem plummets, motivation goes away, and you start to think that the problem is you. Only it isn't. The problem lies in everything you learned about weight loss. And that's exactly what we're going to continue talking about now, because there are even more truths that you need to know. Before continuing to punish yourself for not being able to achieve the body and health you so deserve. And this is where many people give up on their own weight loss journey, thinking that their body is sabotaging itself, when in fact, it is a reflection of everything that has been done wrong up until now. When your metabolism is harmed by restrictive diets, it begins to function as if it is in survival mode. And in this mode, losing fat becomes an almost impossible task. You can fast for hours, eat less than necessary, cut out all carbohydrates, and still feel like you're stuck. This isn't laziness. It's not a lack of effort. It's a hormonal imbalance. When insulin is high, when cortisol is not controlled, your body retains fat, even with low caloric intake. And that's why you feel hungry all the time, have a drop in energy, and still suffer from the famous rebound effect. The key is to understand that true weight loss is not about making more effort, but about making the right effort. Adjusting your diet strategically, respecting your body, balancing your hormones, and abandoning miracle formulas for good is the fastest and healthiest way for you to regain control of your health and your relationship with food. And the truth is, when you learn to work with your metabolism, not against it, the results appear naturally and lastingly. And that's what we're going to keep talking about now. When you start to adjust your diet intelligently, respecting your body's signals and focusing on strategies that regulate your hormones, weight loss happens without suffering. The problem is that most people have been trained to follow rules that make no sense at all. For example, eating every 3 hours, even if you are not hungry, or avoiding good fats for fear of gaining weight. This creates a distorted relationship with food and puts the focus only on the scale, completely ignoring what really matters: metabolic health, satiety, and emotional balance. Many times, your body is asking for nutrients, but what you're offering is counting empty calories. And the more you insist on this cycle, the more the body resists releasing fat. What really works is eating clean, with real foods, rich in protein, fiber, and good fats, which activate fat burning naturally. When you abandon the deprivation mentality and start thinking about intelligent nutrition, the body responds with more energy, less hunger, less binge eating, and continuous, healthy weight loss. Change begins when you understand that reprogramming your diet is much more effective than living stuck on diets that weaken you. And that is exactly what you will understand even more from now on. And perhaps the most ignored point by traditional diets is the emotional impact of this entire process. When you're stuck with dietary restrictions, guilt becomes a constant ingredient in your meals. All it takes is a piece of bread, an untimely, sweet treat, or a mistake on the weekend to make you feel like you've thrown everything away, that you've lost control. This constant guilt directly affects your motivation and self-esteem. And without motivation, you enter a cycle of abandonment, return to old habits, and feel like you are always starting from scratch. This is not healthy. True weight loss goes beyond the scale. It starts in your mind, in the way you relate to food and your own body. When you learn to eat consciously, choosing foods that nourish and don't just fill an emotional void, transformation happens from the inside out. Strategies like intermittent fasting, anti-inflammatory eating, and a well-adapted ketogenic diet aren't just for losing weight. They help balance your mood, control your anxiety, and improve mental clarity. It's not just about burning fat. It's about feeling good, with lightness, energy, and disposition. And that's why understanding this connection between what you eat and how you feel is the essential next step on this journey. And when you start to understand that weight loss doesn't just depend on what you eat, but also on how your body reacts emotionally to what you're experiencing, everything changes. There's no point following the best diet in the world if you have high levels of stress, anxiety, or poor sleep. Cortisol, known as the stress hormone, is one of the biggest saboteurs of fat burning. And no one talks about it when they give you a ready-made meal plan, full of rules and restrictions. If your body is in a constant state of alert, it will not prioritize weight loss. On the contrary, it will store fat, especially in the abdominals region, as a protective mechanism. That's why, even if you eat little, you feel like you're not losing weight, because the focus also needs to be on mental balance, reducing inflammation, and hormonal regulation. Anti-inflammatory eating, for example, helps reduce this chronic state of internal inflammation that prevents weight loss, and at the same time, improves your disposition, mood, and mental clarity. Another neglected point is sleep. A body that sleeps poorly produces more ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and less leptin, the satiety hormone. Result? More desire to eat, more difficulty stopping, and a slower metabolism. This shows that losing weight isn't just about closing your mouth. It's about opening your eyes to how your body works. If you ignore these factors, you get stuck thinking that the problem is just the food, but the hole is further down. Your body is an intelligent system that needs a set of actions to function well. And this includes good hydration, exposure to natural light, moments of mental rest, and yes, a diet aligned with what you really need. There's no point in following a fad diet if it deprives you of the nutrients that control your neurotransmitters, your energy, and your will to live. Sustainable weight loss, real weight loss, is a reflection of harmony between body, mind, and strategic eating. When you align these pillars, your body stops resisting and starts collaborating with the process. And that's why now we need to look even deeper at a factor that almost no one considers, but which directly affects your results. And it is exactly at this point that one of the biggest silent villains of weight loss comes into play: the food environment. Few people realize it, but everything around you directly influences your choices. From the food you keep at home to the people you spend time with. If your routine is surrounded by stimuli that encourage the consumption of ultra-processed, inflammatory foods, full of hidden sugar and trans fat, your brain will remain trapped in a cycle of dependence and constant desire. This happens because these foods activate the reward system, generating dopamine spikes that bring a momentary sensation of pleasure. But soon after comes the fall, and with it, the desire to eat more. And the worst part, you don't even realize that you are being manipulated by an industry that invests millions to keep you trapped in food addiction, impulsive consumption, and the feeling of failure. The marketing of these companies is cruel because it disguises the foods as fit, zero sugar, light. But in practice, they continue to inflame your body, messing with your hormones and preventing your body from entering a real state of fat burning. That's why changing your diet isn't just about what goes on your plate. It's about what goes into your house, into your fridge, into your shopping cart. It's about learning to identify misleading labels, avoid sabotaging ingredients like glucose syrup, hydrogenated vegetable oil, artificial colors, and additives that promote silent inflammation. This type of inflammation does not hurt, but it causes insulin resistance, accumulation of abdominal fat, fluid retention, constant tiredness, and difficulty responding to physical exertion. In other words, even if you are doing everything right, if the environment around you does not support, you losing weight becomes a daily struggle. And this is one of the biggest reasons why so many people return to where they started. They fail not because of a lack of will, but because of a lack of structure. Therefore, change needs to be strategic. And it starts with simple decisions: cleaning the cupboards, organizing meals, preparing healthy lunchboxes, creating an environment that favors your choices. And more than that, you need to surround yourself with people who understand your process, who encourage you, who don't offer just a little bit as if it had no impact. Weight loss is more mental than physical. And when you create a space that nurtures your decisions, the journey becomes much lighter. And from here, it's time for you to understand what will really keep this new lifestyle working, without relapses, without suffering, and without returning to the starting point. And this is when the real difference between those who can lose weight and maintain the results comes into play. Building sustainable habits. There's no point in following a perfect diet for a week and then going back to your old patterns. The body even responds in the short term, but without constancy, everything comes back. The secret is to transform small daily actions into part of your identity. It's not about following strict rules, but about creating a routine that works for you, that respects your schedule, your eating preferences, and most importantly, your reality. When you learn to prepare simple, nutritious meals that leave you satisfied, weight loss becomes a natural consequence. Including anti-inflammatory foods, using intermittent fasting wisely, and learning to listen to your satiety are practices that strengthen your metabolism every day. And that's what maintains consistency. Not extreme effort, but the clarity that each choice is leading you to a lighter, healthier, and more definitive body.